Flash issue 65, which is the final part of The Price, which is kind of tying into Heroes in Crisis. And this is obviously Joshua Williamson writing with Rafa Sandoval on the art. He's been doing the Flash issues, whereas we had Gilliam March, unfortunately, on the Batman issues. So the art's better again, back up to the Sandoval standard, which is not amazing for Flash, but it is much better than Gilliam March. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, still not that great. It felt like here some of the art choices were really, really off.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that seems to be this entire arc. Everything seems really, really off.
Yeah, that's, Joe, it's funny. Like, I think one of the things we said last issue, maybe the last 2 issues of this crossover, is that anything dealing with the Flash and him coping with Wally's death and the Flash cast of characters tended to be pretty solid, but the Batman side of things felt a bit more murky and less, I don't know, formed, I guess. Gotham Girl being the major part of that, and I kind of came out of this feeling the same. Like, I think the Flash stuff in this issue may be some of the best Flash stuff yet. Irish slapping Batman was actually very enjoyable. I'm sure you loved it.
Oh, I love that. I love Barry at the end telling him the difference between me and you.
Yeah,
and,
because they get into a really heat. Because I like this scene at the end a lot. They get into this fight, tensions get high, and you know, Barry, he says, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't bring people into this life because we just keep getting them killed." And I like this because both of these characters do have a lot of family characters. They have a lot of sidekicks. They have a lot of younger versions, that kind of thing. And you know, Barry says something along the lines of, "Oh, what's another dead Robin?" And Batman hits out with, "Well, at least I didn't forget my partner existed." And I'm like, "Damn, Bruce!"
And I want to look at Bruce and go, "That's not fair, man. You're punching below the belt there because." Batman is responsible for a couple dead Robins.
However, as much as I was about to stick up for Barry, I'm like, wait a minute. Flashpoint was kind of Barry's fault.
Oh, kind of. It definitely was. But
well,
I
say kind of because Manhattan and Co. I mean, there's more facets here that we don't
There's
quite get.
There's more going to be there, but Thawne was at play there and was manipulating Barry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that said. Again, Bruce hitting way below. Like he could have said any number of things.
Yes.
You know, go run and hide or whatever. So had Barry punched him out, I'm like, well, that's what you get. Like, run your mouth, get dropped. Like that's it. But yeah, I love that scene, and it should come as no surprise.
Yeah,
because Batman really comes off as a right dick. He comes
in at full speed force, and then he's got to punch Batman in the face, and he stops at the last second. Like his fist is right in front of his face, and he's like, "I could hit you anytime I wanted to," but you know, like it's a good moment. I mean, sure, like it's annoying that everyone's like depressed and angry right now. It's making frustrating.
And this is what I like over the arc with Williamson is. He really went out of his way to show at the beginning of this, like Barry and Bruce are actually really good friends. Yeah. They both respect each other. So at the point where they're both ready to kill each other at the end because of the events,
kill's a bit far, Matt.
Well, when I say kill, I mean like they're ready to throw down with each other, and you've never really seen that with Clark and Bruce, right? Like the respect's always there. Like you know that Bruce wouldn't have said anything like that to Clark. You know, or vice versa. So the fact, like now we're at this point because of Gotham Girl and what happened at Sanctuary, I thought that was a nice arc. Yeah. Might be my favorite thing about this arc because the rest of it I feel was just we were spinning our wheels while filling some time.
I'll be honest, I when Gotham Girl looked like she was going to die and they're trying to save her, I was ready for her to die and I was expecting it, and I thought that's okay. She's kind of at this point I don't really care about her. But then they saved her and put in her tank, and like, I'm going to train her and let her be a hero now, because if she's going to do it, then I might as well train her to do it properly. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I like Batman's reasoning that, you know, that's kind of always been his thing, but you know what? After this story, like, she doesn't seem to remember what she did or why she did it.
No,
which is
and
weird.
That's cheap to me.
Yeah,
like that she has no agency in what's going on, and that makes everything she did. It doesn't matter.
And it makes and all of her complaints about being out of character, sure, it kind of fixes that in a weird way, but. It's not satisfying. Like, there's ways to do this. There's ways to there's like a puppeteer behind the scenes, right? There's ways to do that and make it work. I don't think it worked here.
Oh no, it definitely didn't because they even say that like, oh, whoever gave her that super venom, You know, they're the ones that are in charge of here. What's their bigger play? And I was like, well, you had everything right there. You know, Venom changes things. Like,
Yeah.
there's been stories where Batman's gotten a hold of Venom and it's completely made him like psychotic. So all she had to do was apologize and go, "Oh, I just wanted my brother back, and I know I messed up." Because at the end of the day, nobody really got like, yeah, the Flash Museum got trashed, but no one really got that hurt, you know. So
Yeah.
I can see her apologizing, and then that's on Flash and Batman to be like, all right, well, you need to be trained.
Joe's especially murky about this is that at the start of this story, I just assumed, okay, Bane's behind this because we know she's cahooting with Bane in some form or fashion. Mm-hmm. At the end of the story, I'm not even convinced it is Bane. It feels murky. Like, are they implying someone else did this to her and like it's unconnected with the Bane stuff?
Well, maybe unconnected, but I'm feeling it has more to do with the Flash. And we had that whole the person that got out of the prison that Commander Cold's worried about.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know what I mean? From the future. I'm feeling that has more to do with it than Bane. But then that kind of goes against that panel that we got with all the villains standing there. And it makes me feel like it's more, so what I'm looking for, hypothetical, not hypothetical, but they weren't all really standing there. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Like, it was just a representation of what's going to go on with Batman. So
that'll feel cheap if that's the case, because it felt like such a clear, like, here, all these people are in cahoots here. Right,
but if that's the case, then wouldn't have this messed up Bane's whole plan? Like, I'm just looking at the interior logic here.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this isn't Bane that has anything to do with this. I think this is someone else who's taken Gotham Girl and done this.
But remember, Gotham Girl's on that page with Bane and all the other villains.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. That's my complaint, is that I feel like this is a third party who's taking Gotham Girl from that situation and gave her the super Venom. I mean, I know, before anyone says anything, I realise I'm saying that Venom's involved and it's not Bane who's done it. But I don't understand why Bane would want the Flash Museum to be trashed. I don't understand why Bane would care about any of this.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, if Bane is a mastermind in all this, don't you think he would have, like, taken a little bit more interest in Gotham Girl, right? And been like, well, this might mess up my plan. So I just feel like King and Williamson maybe missed something here.
Or unless the point is that, because at the end this teases You're the Villain, right? So You're the Villain seems to be it's going to be more of an event than we thought it was, just based on the ending of this. I'm wondering, like, what if, like, whatever Bane and all the cronies he's got in Batman is actually somehow feeding into what You're the Villain is going to be. In which case, okay, then maybe it does sync up, and, you know, the reason why Gotham Girl was attacking Central City or the Flash Museum is because of someone else's interests. Like, is there some sort of secret society that Bane's a part of or something? I don't know. Like, I'm like, because so I mean, I like the stuff. Iris leaving for a bit because she can't handle everything that happens around Barry, because you know, very
understandable.
Yeah, like, what I like about this is I think, like, you know, 30 issues ago in the Flash, if like Barry and Iris, when they were starting to maybe like get close again, if she'd run off because she got mad at him, I'd have complained that I was like, oh, are we doing this again?
Yeah.
I think Wally dying and this being connected to like Flash and Batman and everything they do is actually enough of a justification for me where it feels very natural that she would want to get away from him for a while. I hope we don't. I hope we still see her. I hope we still get to see what she's doing when she's away from him. But it makes sense to me to have her, because she has been very attached to what Barry's been up to recently in the books. So she went on the trip with him. She's been helping him. But it makes sense to me that she wants time away from him, and you know, it may make the eventual reunion that much sweeter when, you know, everything clicks together. But
no, I get it. Her, like, I just need some time for me, and you go do you, which is nice too, because now we're gonna get, you know, hopefully we get back to Barry in Iron Heights figuring all this stuff out, you know, because that's still going on. Like, last month before this started, Commander Cold and what's the detective's name?
Burns.
Oh, jeez, Burns. You know, they were stuck in the Tricksters plot.
Do you want to know?
And stuff.
Do you want to know why I've never forgotten her name? It's because the issue I learned it was because it was a Heatwave issue.
Heatwave. Yeah. That's right. So, you know, so hopefully we can double down on some of that, because that's the stuff I'm really enjoying in Flash. As much as I like Barry and Iris's relationship, it is kind of in a holding pattern, and the stuff with Wally is really a good place to change it up.
So the epilogue, then we have to talk about the epilogue that teases this Year of the Villain. So Batman's looking at a wall of a bunch of heroes. We have who am I looking at here? Atom. Oh, who's the second person in that image?
Let me pull this up.
Oh, it's Martian Manhunter, I think. Isn't Martian Manhunter? That's Green Arrow, Hawkman, Hawkgirl. I don't know who that is. Mr. Miracle, Plastic Man, Damian's in there. Wonder Woman.
Well,
sorry.
Well, Damian, of course, is there. He's very untrustworthy.
Yeah, you get Donna, Flash, Hal, Cyborg. Is that
Black Lightning?
Yeah, I think it's Black Lightning. And then, oh, I don't know who that at the end of the second row is.
I see Zatanna in the third row.
Yeah, Batwoman's there. Guy Gardner's there. I think that's Shazam there. Swamp Thing, maybe Booster Gold, Blue Beetle. Yeah. So there's actually people at the sides as well, but that's the main wall. Even Batgirl's on the side. Jessica Cruz is on one of them as well.
Wait, there's two boosters, and the one, unless the one next to Zatanna is not. Oh, that's Animal Man. Never mind.
Yeah, that's not. You're thinking that because the mask that goes around his head.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, so he's looking at this big wall and he's talking to someone that we can't see yet, right? It's just, these bubbles are just floating. Yeah. And he's basically, I'm going to just read this again, just to say this out loud, right? We have saved the multiverse a dozen times at least, and 11, you missed one by my count, blah, blah, blah. So, this is different. You don't know him like I do. He could have gotten to anyone, turned them. We need to investigate everyone who hasn't acted like themselves in the last few months. So, first of all, who's him? Is he talking about Bane? Is Bane gotten to someone? Is it spinning out of that?
No.
I don't know. We don't know who we can trust. And then, we turn the page and it turns out it's Superman he's talking to. And he's like, oh, we should go to Barry, we should go to the Flash because he can help us investigate. And Batman, isn't willing to answer the question. You don't think we can trust the Flash? And that's kind of what we end on, is his hesitation. I guess that means Batman thinks he's been acting out of character, because that's what he says, is that we have to look at who's been acting differently the last few months.
Yeah.
I don't think it is the Flash. Whoever the mole, if someone does turn out to be a mole or someone who's been turned or flipped, I don't know who's going to be. I think it's Barry. No. I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say that it's no one who has a book.
Yeah.
That's my first guess.
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet.
It's someone who doesn't have a book. We saw in there like I don't want them to do this to Animal Man, but Animal Man's the sort of character where it's like, yeah, they can probably get away with doing it to Animal Man, and no one's going to complain that much.
Yeah.
But
or even Hawkman, you could kind of do it with Hawkman, but that would be out of character in his book, although not really, because it involves multiverses and time streams, and I wouldn't like to see it, but I could see it.
Yeah, up until now, like, you're the villain, we were like, what is this? Is it a mini? Is it one shots? What is happening? It seems to be actually an event that's happening later in the year. It says in the near future.
Yeah.
It's presumably this will be starting after the end of both Heroes in Crisis and Doomsday Clock, which is nice. I mean, it means they're wrapping those up before they start the next thing, unless you're counting DCeased, but DCeased is out of continuity, so I wouldn't. So we'll see what this is. I mean, we can't trust one of the Justice League members. Okay, we'll see how that goes. We'll see who's writing it for a start. Like, is it Williamson because he's teasing it, or is it King because it's maybe relating more to his story, or is it just someone else entirely? Who knows? But it does make that Free Comic Book Day issue a lot more curious.
Yeah.
To see what that's setting up. In fact, we might even get an announcement this month because WonderCon. They might even do a big blowout and say, "Hey, you're the villains coming." Yeah, so it's a mystery. Even though Heroes in Crisis was kind of just a mystery as well, but it's a different kind of mystery. This is an espionage style mystery. All right, that was the prize. I mean, I think this was probably the best of the 4 issues because of all the Barry and Batman stuff and because of the Irish stuff. So it's probably my favorite. The Gotham Girl stuff, though, by this point, I couldn't give a shit about. I was just lost on it.
Yeah, she's kind of a lost character as far as I'm concerned.
So, but hey, that is the last part of the price. Matt, what are you giving the issue?
I'm giving it a 7. Like, the art was kind of, it was fine, but nothing great, and had some really good moments. But overall, it's kind of just, like I said, spinning its wheels while Batman gets back to normal and Flash gets back to normal.
I think I'm going to agree and give it a 7, which is actually 0.5 higher than Heroes in Crisis. And the reason why I'm justifying that is because I think the emotion of the Barry Bruce stuff and the Iris stuff actually worked better than what some of Heroes in Crisis did, even though the Gotham Girl stuff itself was weaker. This had more of a finite point. It made more of an emotional impact by the end, so I'm going to go with that.